Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear students. Again with lesson 11. Reported speech. Reporting, normally it means to retell the speech that you have heard from one person or from a group of people. So I report, it means I retell. So reporting can be reporting of statements, okay? It can be reporting of questions. It can be reporting of comments, okay? So we start, of course, with the reporting statements, and the statements, it means a declarative sentence. And before I report the speech, I have to pay attention to normally the introductory sentence, which is someone said or someone says. So in the introductory sentences, if the introductory sentence starts in the present, for example, I say, Suzanne says, there is no backshift of tenses in reported speech. Okay, example. In the direct speech, Suzanne says, I work in an office. So if I report the speech, Suzanne says that she works in an office. So I don't change the tense here as it is mentioned here. So I work, it stays in the present. I just change the pronoun. Okay, so there is no backshift of tenses when the sentence introductory, which is introductory, is in the present. If the introductory sentence starts in the past, like Suzanne said, there is often backshift of tenses in reported speech. Example, Suzanne said, I work in an office. Suzanne said that she worked in an office. So here, work, it changed to be from the simple present to the simple past. Now let's have a look to the backshift of the tenses. So if the tense is in a certain tense, for example, simple present, it'll be in the simple past. Example here, Peter, I work in the garden. Peter said that he worked in the garden. From the simple past, from the present perfect and the past perfect, usually it will be in the past perfect. So, simple present, it will be simple past. If it is simple past in the normal speech, I mean direct speech, in case of direct speech, so I'm going to write it in order to be clear. This is the direct speech, okay? This is what? The direct speech. And this is the indirect speech. So when I report, this is indirect speech. Okay, indirect. Okay, indirect speech. In case of indirect speech and direct speech. So in this case, I have here the simple present, as I said, I work in the garden, and it will be worked in the garden. If it is simple past, it is already in the simple past, so I'm going to report the speech differently. So in these two cases, I'm going to report it in the past perfect. Peter, I worked in the garden. So this is the direct speech between quotation marks, okay? And the direct speech is noticed to be between the two quotation marks. So I worked in the garden. Peter said that he had worked in the garden. He said, I have worked in the garden, and it will be had worked in the garden. If it is already in the past perfect, it stays in the past perfect. So what about the case of these models? Will, can, may, would, could, might, should, and ought to. In these cases, Will, automatically it'll be would. Can, it'll be could. May, sorry, it'll be might. Okay. So, and the rest normally will stay as they are. Would, could, might, should, ought to, etc. And of course, each has its own, normally, its own, of course, use and meaning. If I have I will, here we have examples. Peter, I will work in the garden. It'll be, he said he would work in the garden. So, said that. Said that. This is used in the reported speech. The direct or the indirect, sorry, reported speech. I can work, he could work. I may work, he might work. I would work, he would work, and could, might, should, ought to will stay as they are. In the progressive forms, for example, if I have are, is, was, were, has been, or had been, in case here, normally used in the progressive forms. Of course, we change was and were, are, is, or was and were, they will go to be was and were. Has been and had been, it will be had been. Peter, I'm working in the garden. Peter said that he was working in the garden. I was working in the garden. It stays I was working in the garden. I have been working in the garden. He had been working in the garden. I had been working in the garden. Of course, it stays as it is too. So, this is about the backshifts of tenses. So, in order to report speech, we change the tense if the introductory sentence is in the past form. And of course, backshifting is not restricted to the tenses, even the expressions we use. So, shifting of expressions of time and place also occur with the reported speech. If the sentence contains an expression of time, you must change it as well. For example, I say, Peter, I worked in the garden yesterday. Peter said that he had worked in the garden the day before. So here, yesterday, it will be the day before. I don't keep yesterday. Here, of course, I have changed it normally. The tense from worked, it became had worked. And even the pronoun also. Instead of saying I'm going to write he. It depends on the person who reported the speech. Yesterday, it will be the day before. If it is the word normally report speech today or this day, it will be that day. Tomorrow, the next or the following day, or the day after. This evening, that evening. These days, those days. Now, then. A week ago, a week before. Last weekend, the weekend before the previous weekend. Here, there. Next week, the following week. So, these are normally shifts in terms of the expressions of time and place. And of course, it is not restricted only on time and place. Of course, the pronoun also is very important. For example, if I have I and the reporter is the same normally who has done the work, normally I'm going to say, for example, according to his name, for example, I said that I am, or Laura said that she is. Okay, so it depends on the user or the reporter himself or herself. So in case I have a reported question, so we have seen reported statements. Now we move to the reported questions. In case of reported questions, if you put a question into reported speech, there are some steps which are the same like in statements. Changing of the person, backshift of tenses, changing of expressions and of time. And in reported speech, there is no question anymore. So when you report the questions, we don't keep the question mark. The sentence becomes a statement, and that's why the word order is subject and verb, like the statements, and no question marks. Example of reporting, of course, as you know, the questions can be either yes or no questions, or they can be WH questions or information questions. So, yes or no questions. Peter, do you play football? Here we have a question. How to report the question? Normally we don't say said, we say asked. I asked him whether or if I played football. Of course, here we have changed it, the played, because it was in the simple present before, became played. And in case WH questions, here we don't write whether or if, we use it in the yes or no questions, okay? And the WH questions, for example, Peter, where do you play, when do you play football? Sorry, I'm going to erase it so it will be clear. Okay, so in this case, what do you have here? When do you play football? When, we keep it, we don't exclude it. So Peter asked me when I played football. So Peter, when do you play football? I report. Peter asked me when I played football. So here we omit the do, and you it will be I. Play it will be in the simple past because it was previously in the present. So, and when it is as it is. Now if I have a command, so when I talk about command, I'm talking about imperative form of the verb, where we don't have the subject, so we have only the command, the verb, and the object. If you put a command into reported speech, there are some steps which are the same like in statements. For example, I say changing of the person, back shifts of tenses, changing of expressions of time, and the form is most of the time form of infinitive. Okay, I write, for example, the reported or the introductory verb +2 plus the infinitive form of the main verb. So here, affirmative command. Do you do your homework? It will be normally father told me to do my homework. So here the command will be in the infinitive form. Teacher, don't talk to your neighbor. The teacher told me not to talk to my neighbor. So this is negative command and this is affirmative command. So don't talk, it will be not to. So in the negative form it will be not to, while in the affirmative form directly it will be to. So these are normally the three main types of reported speech. For example, reported command, reported question. Okay, and we have also seen the reported statements. Okay. We go now to the practice number 1. Use the pen. Paul, Atlanta is a wonderful city. Atlanta is what? A wonderful city. So Atlanta, normally, this statement is reported by Paul. Paul normally is a man, name of a man. So I'm going to write, of course, first of all, let's write Paul. Okay, Paul did what? Normally this is a statement. So what to do here with these statements? I'm going to say told or said. Okay, said what? Said that Atlanta is a wonderful city. Here, what to write here? It is in the past. Okay. Normally I suppose it to write it was, and I complete the rest as it is. But here this is a fact. This is a fact. For example, he said Atlanta is a wonderful city. Here we are going to find ourselves in such a dilemma. So we write was because Atlanta is still a wonderful city. It does not change. And normally we keep it as it is. So we say, Paul, Atlanta is a wonderful city. Okay. Paul said that Atlanta is a wonderful city. So if you write is here, in case of facts that do not change, so here we can keep it is. Okay. The second example is Ruth. Ruth said, I go jogging every morning. So if I'm going to put the introductory verb in the past, I'm going to say Ruth said, okay, said, I repeat the S because it is not clear here, said that okay, he, you see, so it became he because we have here the person, the reporter is the same, the speaker. So I go jogging every morning. So here what to do? He, go to be, went jogging every morning. Okay, I do not rewrite. Every morning we can keep it as it is because it is normally an expression of time. Yes, but it is for every day, so it is not a problem. And now Jenny isn't studying for her exams. And now normally said, as we have seen here. Oh, sorry, yeah, I forgot that. So I repeat, said. Normally it is say. So this is normally the problem of the instruction. The instruction said use says. So it is in the simple present. It is not in the simple past. Said, okay, that Jenny is not or was not. Normally it is was. Okay, was not doing or studying for her exams. So here we cannot change it because her, it refers to Jenny, and Jenny is already mentioned here. Sorry, I didn't write it. Jenny. So Jenny wasn't or was not studying for her exams. Andrew said that he used. Andrew said that he, because he is the same, the reporter is the speaker, okay? He used, we keep it as it is, okay? Very fast. And Jim said, of course, that he could not swim. Okay, that he could not swim. It means what? Here we changed many things. Imagine that here, instead of said, I'm going to put says. Sorry. Here, I'm going to erase all of them. In this case, what to do? Here, also, and here. In this case, what to do? I'm going to change the color. Look here, it will be this one. Paul says that Atlanta is okay, and here it will be what? It will be goes. So I change everything except the tense of the verb. Okay, I write, of course it is the same, says. It will be like this, goes. So I go jogging, it will be he goes jogging. Jenny is not, it will be was not. Okay, so we erase this one. Okay, I repeat. Of course, here we use the present tense of the verb to say. It's the same, I'm not going to repeat it here. Jenny, okay, oh sorry, Anne, that Jenny, yeah, we talk about Jenny. So, is not, it stays is not, isn't studying for her exams. Here we keep he, sorry, said, it will be says, also the same. And here he used, okay, used to, and we continue. And here also we erase can't, and it will be could not. The pen, he, it will be, sorry, sometimes I lose the pen. And it stays can't. Okay, as you have noticed here, it is very clear, I hope. So we move now to the next practice. In this practice, we are going to see normally the verb said. So to say in the present. Mary works in a bank. Jane said that what? So I'm not going to repeat Mary. It will be worked. I'm going to write only the repeated elements. Okay, the changed or the shifted elements in this slide. I'm staying with some friends. Jim said that he was staying, okay, that he was staying with some friends, okay. The third one, Mike said, I've never been to Russia. Mike said that he had never been. And here I have the present perfect. It will be what? This is never, sorry. Never been in Russia before. Okay. Tom can't use a computer. Ella said that Tom could not use. Said that. Of course, don't forget that. That especially in terms of reported statements. That Tom, okay, could not instead of can't, could not, could not use a computer. So Jill said everybody must try to do their best. And here must try, that everyone, sorry, all the time it fled, okay. Everybody must try to do their best. So Jill said that everybody must try to do their best. So here we keep it as it is. Why? Because must here normally it is in the used in the past and in the present, and I can say instead of must I may say, for example, had to, okay, in case we insist on, we can say had to. This is normally the past form of have to, okay. Jane May moved to a new flat. Rachel said that Jane might. So we say might. So Rachel said, okay, we said Jane might move to a new flat. And Bill said, I'll stay at home on Sunday. Bill said that he would. Would stay at home on Sunday. So Bill said, Rachel said. So here, when I have this introductory verb, it will be changed. Normally we change the tense. If the introductory verb, like the previous practice, here in this case I have to say I change everything except the tense. But if it is in the past, I'm going to change the tense and of course the other things, like the case of I, it became he. Jane may, I may change I to be she or he, it depends, okay. And I change of course the time expressions, the place expressions, as I have mentioned before in the previous slides. Also this is normally all about the past, the reported speech. The reported speech is to retell the speech of anyone, and when I report, I have to report making such kind of changes in terms of the tense, and we call it the back shift. It occurs at the level of the tense, it occurs at the level of the time expressions, the place expressions, and the pronouns too. So That's all, my dear students. I hope that you have benefited from this lesson number 11 about the reported speech. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you in the next video. Bye.